Hello everyone and welcome to the pre-hackathon expert session for VT organized by DataCode. So today we have a pleasure of having with us a very special guest, Ma'am Arunima Chaudhary, a Harvard V Code Tech Fellow and MLH Fall Fellow 2022. She is highly accomplished individual with a passion for open source technology and she will be sharing her knowledge and insights on how to explore the world of open source. Okay, so open source technology is a fascinating and ever evolving landscape, and it can be a bit overwhelming to navigate for those who are new to it. But fear not, she is here to break it down and help you to explore the endless possibility that open source technology has to be offered. As we gear up for VDHX in April, this session promised to be an excellent opportunity for all the students out there to dive into the fascinating world, open source, and gain valuable insight for an expert. So, without any further delay, let's give a warm welcome to Ma'am.
Hello everyone, and thanks Nehal for the warm introduction. Let's get started. Today I will be speaking on navigating the world of open source as a student. So, starting with a bit of introduction about me, I am a final year student and I am pursuing my BTech from GCCT Kolkata, and I'm a member and contributor at Layer 5 and Meshery. I'm also a maintainer at anitab.org open source and a technical coach there as well. Apart from that, I just completed my Harvard VCode Tech Fellowship for the Women Engineers Code Conference that takes place at Harvard every year. And as a part of the fellowship, I also received the Distinguished Fellow Award there. I was also a software engineering fellow in the software engineer. I was also an MLH fellow in the software engineering track, where I worked with Solana Labs in a blockchain project. Previously, I was a prep fellow there. I was an open source hack mentor at anitabi.org and also a Left Scholar. And apart from that, I've contributed to some of the big open source projects like CNCF, Layer 5, Meshery, AnitaB.org, Community Classroom, and many such projects. So I will share my journey with you, like how I got started, my learnings, what helped me get started, how I moved from solving simple issues to complex issues, and everything. Before diving into the world of open source, it's very important that we understand what is open source. So, open source is any software for which the code is publicly available. We can see it on GitHub or GitLab or any of the code hosting platforms. We can modify it, we can distribute it, we can contribute to it, we can start engaging with the communities of the various open source projects. And yeah, open source is developed in a very collaborative way, and this is the heart of open source softwares, the community and collaboration. They rely a lot on peer review and community production. Open source is often cheaper, more flexible, and has more longevity than its proprietary peers. And the reason is that it is developed in a collaborative way with folks contributing to these projects from all around the world. So, yes, this is a bit of introduction about open source. Now, let's move on. Uh, yes, so this is very important to understand that open source is all about the communities. It is about collaboration, learning together, and helping each other. It is not just coding. It is like 80% of it is about collaboration and engaging with the community, and maybe the 20% is about coding. Now, many of us think that why should we contribute to open source? Contributing to open source has a lot of advantages, and this is what helped me to shine out in my resume, and it it helped me in a lot of ways. Let me share like how like contributing to open source software helped me. The first the first advantage is that when you start contributing to open source, you get to join a community and network with people from all around the world. Because every open source project, they have communities and they have contributors from all around the world. So when you start contributing, you start engaging with people and networking with people from all around the world. Another advantage is that you get to attend some of the top conferences in the world. So many of these open source communities, they have their conferences like CNCF has a lot of conferences, Linux Foundation has a lot of conferences. So when you start contributing to their projects, you get to know about these conferences and you get to attend them. And if it is a paid one, maybe you can apply for the scholarship and then attend it. Also, like no prior experience is required. Open source communities are very engaging and they help you in every way. You don't need to have any prior experience to be able to contribute to open source. Open source has something for everyone to contribute to. Moving on, it gets you get some real world software development experience. So as a student, we often get a lot of rejections from internships and other opportunities saying that we need some experience. So that's where open source come into play. Open source, like contributing to open source projects, actually helps you get some real world software development experience and contribute to code bases of the projects that are used by people from all around the world. And of course, it looks great on your resume that you have contributed to a project that is used by thousands of people. Last is, and this then it comes that it helps you enhance your soft skills. So when we engage with the community, when we start collaborating, it helps us improve our soft skills. And last is add credibility to your profile. So open source projects, their code base is public. So if we contribute to a open source projects, the links to our contributions will be there in our GitHub profile, and that helps to add something that is called credibility and proof of work. So let's say I am saying that I am a good web developer, but when I say that I am a good developer and I've contributed to these web development projects that are used by so many people, it adds credibility, right? So that is another advantage that comes with contributing to open source. And yes, this is like the best part that I feel about open source is that open source is for everyone. So while I have felt this in my journey that while applying to many internships, we have a lot of restriction. Some of them are just for first and second year and third year students, and if we somehow missed them, we cannot reapply to them once we graduate. So this is not there in open source. No matter whether you are in school, whether like you are from which college, which age, which branch, what your grades are, and what your gender or anything, irrespective of your background, you can contribute to open source projects. So open source always believes in diversity and inclusion, and it has something for everyone to contribute to. So even if you like don't know coding, you can contribute to the documentation. If you know designs, you can contribute by improving the logos of the open source projects. And there is a lot of ways in which you can contribute. So that is the best part about open source, that it is for everyone. Now it comes at how to start contributing to open source. So the first thing that I feel is important before starting to contribute to open source is upskilling yourself. A bit of upskilling, just know the basics. So let's say I contribute mainly to web development projects, so I can talk about that. So I just learned the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript from W3 Schools, MDN Docs, and Free Code Camp, and that helped me get started. So make sure that you at least spend at least 2 weeks, I would say, in understanding the basics of the tech stack in which you want to contribute, and then start contributing. It will help in getting a direction and not getting like lost in those big repositories. So make sure that you get familiar with the basics of the tech stack before starting to contribute. The next thing is that joining communities. So once you have upskilled yourself, now you want to join the communities which have the projects in the tech stack you want to contribute. I got to know about a lot of open source organization from the GSOC website. And any open source program you say like GSOC or LFX mentorship or outreach, if you go to their website, even if you are not interested in participating in those programs, they have a list of all the open source organizations and also a link to join their public channels. So that is a very important resource that will help you in joining, getting to has a very amazing feature to apply filters based on the topics you want to. So yes, the GSOC website has an amazing feature to apply filters based on which topic you want to contribute. So if you are interested in getting filters, let's say you want to contribute to web development based projects or Android or security, you can go to the GSOC website, apply the filter, and then start engaging, get to know about the communities. So the next step is join the public channels. Before starting to contribute to any community, this is something I highly recommend which a lot of people miss out is to read the code of conduct. The code of conduct of any open source projects helps us in understanding what is the flow of contribution in that community, how contributions occur. So in many communities they prefer to like have a discussion on the public channel before raising an issue, and many communities they prefer that we can directly raise an issue. So read the code of conduct properly before starting to contribute so that you understand what is the workflow of that community. The next thing I would say is that introduce yourself in the public channel. Introduce yourself doesn't only mean like saying your name and where are you from. Also let them know about your skills, your interest, and what are you looking for in the community. And this is important because it will help the maintainers and the community members to guide you towards where you can start engaging with the community and contributing there. Also, make sure that if they have any community meetings, you add it to the Google Calendar and start attending them. And if they have an option to newsletter, make sure you subscribe to them. It is very important. I got to know about a lot of volunteering opportunities and a lot of things because I subscribed to their newsletter. So make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter of the communities. I remember I got to know about the Grace Hopper conference and the open source hack, the technical coach opportunity from the newsletter of anitaB.org. So make sure that if you are joining any community, you subscribe to the newsletter so that you will stay updated with what is happening, what are the opportunities that are coming up. If there is any internship opportunity, also they publish it in their newsletter, so you will get to know about that. And then I will say that attended events. So as a student, if you cannot pay for the tickets, make sure that you apply for the scholarships in the right time for the events and conferences that those communities are taking part. Then I would say start observing the activities for around at least a week. Start observing the activities like going on in the community, like code reviews, the merged pull request, the discussions on the pull request. This will help you get an idea about the community rather than directly jumping in and starting raising issues and PRs. So give some time to understand the community well before you start jumping in and contributing. So like let's say I didn't like some of the communities I learned a lot by looking at the merged pull request. So the merged pull requests are a very good source of understanding the code base and the code structures. In the merged PRs, if you go and like let's say there you will get an idea of what are the works that have been done before. You will get to know about the file structure by looking at the files that have been changed. So looking at the merged pull request is a very good way of understanding the code base and about like how contributions goes on in the community. Okay, so this is very basic, but you can start contributing by correcting some typos and spelling errors, but make sure that you don't stick to these issues and improve yourself, like uplift yourself. But it's fine and it's a very good way of starting contribution by correcting the typos and the spelling errors. And yes, like you can take a screenshot of this page if you want. Uh, these are some of the websites from where you can find good first issues and get started with contributions. One is the good first issue website, another is the first contributions repository, and especially the last three ones, the firsttimersonly.com, contributor ninja website, 24 pull request website, and the EdiHub community. These have some very good resources to help you start contributing to open source. Okay, so even after looking at these resources also, okay, let me give you a few seconds time so that you can take a screenshot and keep it with you and follow the resources. Okay, so if it still confuses you, have a look at the previous PRs and issues. And I highlight this a lot because no, like very few people look at them before asking the questions. Look at the previous PRs and issues. It will give you a very good understanding of how to structure them, how to like where to make the changes, in which file to make the changes. And yes, this should give a very good idea of GitHub and how to make PRs and how to raise issues and the basic things. Now, this is one of the questions that I get asked most in my LinkedIn or Twitter, that how to move from solving very simple issues to the complex ones. So let's discuss about it. Okay, so how to get started with solving complex issues? The first point is use the product well. So this is an example that I give a lot, that if you don't know what the blue tick is there for WhatsApp, you will not be able to make changes in the code base, right? If you don't know what that button is there for, you won't be able to make changes or add functionality there. So make sure that you explore the product well. You explore all the features and the functionalities of the product before starting to contribute there. So this is the first point. Next, I would say this is something that a lot of people miss out on this step and directly start contributing. Read the project documentation very, very thoroughly. The project documentations often have a lot of links also, like hyperlinks. So make sure that you visit those hyperlinks and understand the concepts. Reading the project documentation, understanding what the community is for, what are their missions, goals, and what are the projects there for is very important. So make sure that you spend sufficient time reading the project documentation. Another thing to understand the project well is to listen to the past conference talks on the project. So let's say like I contribute to Layer 5. Layer 5 takes part in LFX mentorship and also in a lot of Linux Foundation. They showcase their projects in a lot of Linux Foundation talks as well. So uh, you can go to their website and have a look at the conference talks on that project. This will also give an idea that uh, what are the goals of the project, what are the bugs there, what are they working on. And the next thing is that for every project they will have a folder called contributing.md, and it will have the contributing guidelines and the code of conduct, so make sure you read that well. So these are some of the initial tasks that we all should do before starting to contribute there, and it will help us in making some good contributions and do not to create a mess, right? So the next step should be to set up the project on your local system. Generally, the readme.md file or the contributing.md file has sufficient instructions for setting up the project on your local system. But often we face a lot of errors in setting up, and this is very common. It takes sometimes weeks to set up a project. So while you are facing those errors, make sure that you ask in the public channels for help and don't just sit there or give up. Take a screenshot of the errors, add sufficient information about which system you are working on, how you got the error, what are the steps you have taken to solve the error. Like initially, when we get the error, we will try Googling it, use Google a bit and try using answers from Stack Overflow to solve the error. So make sure that you give a detailed description of the error with the operating system you are working on and ask it in the public channel for help. Another thing is avoid texting the maintainers personally, because like if you are getting an error or if you have any questions, Anyone in the community can help you out. It's not only the maintainers. So make sure that you ask any question in the public channels. Until unless it is like personal and you need to text the maintainers, that's a different case. But these are some of the like good practices of open source, because open source is about collaboration. So yeah. And also, if you ask in the public channel, there is a high chance that you will get a faster answer. And maybe someone who has faced similar errors, some contributor who has faced similar errors will help you out in solving the error. So this is why I said in the beginning that open source is about helping each other and collaborating more than just coding. uh, Now let's understand how to navigate the code base, right? Because this is a very important part, and open source projects, they have such big code bases, and navigating it often gets difficult. So I contribute mainly to web development based projects, so I use the inspect element a lot. And like how you can navigate the code base of your project, like if you're contributing to some other domains you can find out, but navigate the code base a bit. So for web development based projects, make inspect element your best friend and understand the repository structures. Explore every element of the project. Also, referring to the merged PRs and the previous issues that have been solved is a great way to get idea of the code base. In the merged PRs, you can see that there is a section called files changed. You can go there and see. So let's say I have been assigned an issue to make some changes in a nav bar. I can just go to the merged PR section and search their nav bar and see what are all the previous pull requests that have been merged related to the navbar and have a look at the files changed there. And this will help me in understanding in which files to make the changes and also like where to make the changes. So refer a lot to the merged PRs. They help tremendously to explore the code base. The next I would say is that solve 2 to 3 good first issues before jumping into solving some like a big issue. Because if you like directly get into solving a big issue, and let's say you are not able to do it in some cases, then it demotivates a lot. So it's better to start small and then slowly grow. And yeah, like for web development based projects, I started solving like small issues like adding a margin, or maybe make some changes to improve the responsiveness of the website, or anything simple. Solve 2 to 3 good first issues first. This will help in adding value to the project, and also will at the same time will help you in understanding the repository structure. And also like once you even if it is a like 2 to 3 lines change, if the PR gets merged, it uplifts the confidence a lot. So make sure that you start small and then grow slowly. And after solving a few simple issues, start looking at the big difficult ones and in the same project. Don't jump to a different project in the community. Make sure that you stick to one project and explore the code base sufficiently before jumping to the next one. Also, while you are contributing, make sure you communicate well with the other contributors. So, let's say while solving an issue, you are stuck at some point, make sure you let the maintainers know about it and not just sit with it. Okay, so communicate with other contributors, ask for help when required in the public channels. Keep the maintainers updated with your progress in the issues, how you are going about solving the issue. So, this is why I said that open source is more about collaboration rather than just coding. So, yeah. And yes, this is something that my pod leader at MLH said me, because at MLH was the first time that I was working at such a big project, and that too in a completely new domain. I started working in a blockchain project and I had no idea about blockchain. So this is something that our pod leader said, that if you are stuck at the same place for a day and couldn't get any clue on how to proceed, it is now the correct time to ask your doubts. So make sure that even if you are stuck at the same place for a day and you are not getting an idea on how to go about or how to move ahead, you ask the doubts in the public channel. And the earlier you ask, the more easily you will go ahead and solve the issue faster. So don't hesitate from asking for help. Always ask for help. And open source communities, they are very helpful, and uh, yes, they help a lot. So make sure that if you are stuck at the same place for a day, you ask for help. And also ask good questions. By asking good questions, I mean giving details. Like if you're like just saying in the public channel that I'm not able to set up the project, it's very difficult for someone to help you out. Rather, if you say that I have followed these steps, these are the errors that I am facing, this is my operating system, and you give sufficient details, then there is a higher chance that someone will be able to help you out. So make sure that you ask good questions, give a lot of details, and also do a bit of research before asking a question. If you're getting some errors, like try googling it a bit. Try to use Google to like and some Stack Overflow solutions to fix it. If even after that you cannot, then you can move ahead. Now another case arises is that you have no idea about what the issue is saying. So most of the places that I have realized in my open source journey is that if you're getting no clue about what the issue is about, it's because you're not understanding the technical terms that are there in the issue. So make sure that instead of panicking, you Google it. Make Google your best friend. Try to Google the technical terms that you are not understanding and read about it. This will simplify the issue, and maybe ultimately you will be able to solve it. Also, when you start solving big issues, try breaking down the task into small chunks. Have a very well detailed and collaborative conversation about with your maintainer that how you are planning to go ahead and solve the issue and raise the PR before raising the PR. This will help in the sense that if, like, let's say you are trying to make some changes that the maybe the community is not wanting, and it's a big change, so you will work send the PR, then it will get rejected. So it's better that you first describe them how you are thinking of making the changes, and have a clear discussion, and then go ahead and make the changes. And also always refer to the project talks and the past issues on the same topic that were solved. And yes, in open source, many communities, not all, most of the people are volunteering there and they have their own full time jobs. So it's very important that you have patience. It might take months for your PR to get merged, and it might take a few days to get a review on your PR. So please have patience. Like, don't give up easily. Have patience. Make small contributions regularly, and lastly, follow the project's code style, and submit your contributions in a way that is consistent with the development process. By code style, I mean that let's say they have a particular format of writing functions in that project. Make sure that you follow that format. So if they are writing JavaScript functions in arrow format, make sure that you also write the functions in arrow format so that it matches the project's code style. And yeah, then moving on to the conclusion, uh, you don't. The first thing is that you don't have to solve really difficult issues to add value to your project. Often, adding a few meaningful diagrams, uh, correcting a few errors, improving the documentation also adds a lot of value to the project. Even improving the project's logo or the UI UX of the project, or giving a few ideas, helping others in the community, it also adds value to a project. So you don't have to like be a pro coder or solve some really difficult issues or be from an amazing background to add value to a project. Simply like leaving a comment in a pull request can also add value to the project. Reviewing PRs is also a very good way of adding value to a project. Also, like, to be able to shine in open source, it's not necessary that you have to like contribute every day. Just be regular. If you're like spending 1 hour also with the open source, or 3 days a week, or 4 days a week with the contributing to open source, make sure that you are consistent and regular, and slowly it will show results. So yeah, having patience and being consistent is very important in open source. And Lastly, start contributing today. It's an amazing, the communities are amazing. You will get to learn a lot, and also it's very easy. Like once you start contributing to any community, if they have any internship offers, then there is a high chance that you will be able to grab it. So yeah, and like if you want to connect with me, then these are my social media handles. You can connect with me here. Um, okay. So and thanks everyone for joining and attending the session. Now, like let's move on to the Q&A part. So let me know if you have any questions and I will start answering them. And yeah, ask your doubts in the comment section. I will be answering them. Okay, so about the MLH prep program, if you are planning to apply, first of all, make sure that you watch the MLH fellowship info sessions. It takes all the past sessions are there on YouTube, and it will give you a complete idea of what projects they are looking for, what answers they are looking for, and everything. And about the prep program, so prep program is a 3 week pre-fellowship program. It prepares you for the main fellowship. In the prep program, you don't contribute to any code base of any company, but you collaborate with your pod mates working on a weather application and a portfolio website. That was when I completed the prep. I don't know if it has changed now, but yeah, that's about the prep. It's a 3 week program, and it kind of prepares you for the main fellowship. Also, if you complete the prep program, it your application gets fast tracked for the main fellowship, and it's easier to crack in that way. And regarding the projects and answers, make sure that you watch all the MLH fellowship info sessions on YouTube, and yeah, get your answer reviewed by some of the past fellows. It helps a lot. Moving on to the next question. Thanks, Bhavna, for joining, and thanks for the appreciation. I hope you like got some insights through the session. And if you have any more doubts, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I try answering as many questions as I can. And yeah, thanks, Silky. Okay, Chetan, should I start contributing after learning? So even if you don't know anything, just go to the like now the outreachy projects are also announced. Go to the website of GSOC outreachy and get to know about the open source communities and introduce yourself there. Tell about your tech stacks. Often the maintainers only point you to the learning resources. You can tell them that I don't know about Android development, but I want to contribute to this project. Can you point me to some resources from where I can learn about it? So you can ask it there, and they will point you to some resources. Otherwise, there are a lot of free resources on YouTube and the internet. You can learn, and if you don't know, you can contribute to the documentation. There are a lot of ways you can contribute. So yeah, you should start contributing. Okay, so about a good internship offer in web development. So the internships that I got were mainly through open source, and I have not cracked like an internship that is based on web development as such. So I don't think I'm the correct person to answer it. But yeah, if the community is having a lot of web development projects, you can start contributing there and see if they offer web development based internships in open source. Otherwise, like I'm not very sure because like in MLH fellowship, I worked on a blockchain based project. So I'm not very sure about it. Maybe you should ask someone who has cracked a web development based internship. Okay, so Sujal, I'm not very sure when it will start this year. You can go to their website and go to their application form to find out when the program is starting. But the applications are open throughout the year. Prakhar, okay, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you, Bhakti. About GSOC organizations. So choose organizations like I have not been a GSOC mentee, so I cannot guide you. Maybe you should watch the sessions of the past GSOC mentees and try and they can help you better guiding you like which organization to choose. So make sure you watch the sessions of the past GSOC mentees. About the selection in hackathon, maybe someone else can help you out with it. Don't know much. Okay, so initially it doesn't pay you, but once you crack an internship with that company, yes, it pays you. It pays you very well. Yeah. Initially it might not pay you because but after like most of the time after contributing to for 2 to 3 months in that project, many folks get an internship. And if you are not cracking an internship, it will help you adding value. So I remember in my MLH fellowship interview, it like it helped me a lot. Like when I talked about my community activities, my open source contributions, it helped me add an edge in the interview. So in that way it pays you, it helps you like uh, shine out in the interviews. Or often, yes, the open source communities also, if they offer internship, then you have a higher chance of cracking if you have contributed to their projects. Okay, so how open source it helps you, like it helps you build your skills, and skills are something that is required in hackathons. It helps you build your skills, it helps you join a community of developers, and most importantly, like for hackathons, it's very difficult, often gets difficult to find a team of people. So in open source communities, you can meet a lot of people and team up for hackathons. Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Sujal. I'm glad you all of you liked the session and it helped you in some way.
Okay, so thank you everyone. This was indeed an amazing session. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. So, from today's session, we get to know about the open source has something for everyone to contribute, and we get to know that how to contribute and where it will help to you. So, this concludes this session. Thank you everyone for attending. We hope you have learned and enjoyed the session. Thank you so much.